believe that there is Allah, a creator, higher being, the most high being. They did believe that, and you have basically, they are, and you've talked about it, and I'm going to clear it up. They are the progeny of Ishmael. They are the progeny of people who mix with the progeny of Ishmael. I'm sorry, and these are people who came from Yemen mostly, and different, mix. I'm not going to go into the whole lineage of it. If anyone wants to do, they can see it in the Sirat al-Rasul and so on when it talks about the progeny. But their concept of God got corrupted. These people are people who mix with the progeny of Ishmael. People they basically received the message from Ishmael. However, their doctrine of God got corrupted. Some of their practices got corrupted. And we'll look, for example, the Tawaf of the Kaaba. The Tawaf of the Kaaba was a practice that it is reported that Prophet Ishmael did and Prophet Abraham. However, the Quraysh would do the Tawaf naked. So the Prophet Muhammad came and corrected that. And many other things that and this is not the point of the discussion, but basically, like the Christians and the Jews, basically, they believed in a higher being. Now, their doctrine was not the same. The attributes were not the same. And it was basically due to the corruption that came with time and people infiltrating into the message, same as Islam came to correct Christianity and Judaism. And I want to make this point. No one is saying, because you said that there's a problem, me talking about the difference in the doctrinal between the Jews and the Christians, and that the Jews actually don't believe in the same God as the Muslims, or that there's a problem in doctrinal or the beliefs of the Jews towards Islam. And I never claimed that the two are the same. I know what the Jews believe, and we do not believe that we have the same doctrine as the Jews. However, the Christians and the Jews and the Muslims have the issue of the unity of God and the oneness of God. Again, that it's not Father, Son, Holy Spirit. That basically, that's what it would be. Now, when you go into finer details, you'll find in the attributes and many other distinct characteristics of God that it is different. Again, the doctrinal was not the same. The Quraysh had the same doctrinal as the attributes. So you cannot say that the two are the same. For example, if I have 2 cups of water and one of them has 3 drops of pee in it, even though you can say it's water, it might. But when you analyze the deep differences, you cannot call one water and the other one the same water. Same argument applies against to Yahweh of the Jews and Yahweh of the Christians. You cannot say that they are the same. But again, I make the point that the Quraysh did not believe that Hubal and Allah are the same. Now you claim about the issue of Ar-Rahman, and that it was basically just denying one attribute of God. But it was not just denying one attribute of God. And if you read the Quran carefully, you find that it's denying many other things of God, attributing things to God. So that changes the attributes of God. Attributing daughters, attributing many other things to God. Some people did not even believe that God will resurrect him, for example. They did not believe in the resurrection. They denied that. So these are things that they denied the power of God to resurrect him. So it is not just one aspect, and that is the Ar-Rahman, as you say. No, it is many, again, showing that they might have believed in Rububiyyah, but they did not believe in Uluhiyyah. They also did not believe in Asma wa Sifat, which I just showed. So this is something very important. Now you're quoting the verse about, and this is a basically an am or a mutlaq verse. It's a general statement. You're quoting that when you ask them who created, who sends water from the sky and who created heavens and the earth, they will say Allah. Again, if you ask a Christian, who created this and this, they will say Yahweh. Again, that does not mean that the Yahweh of the Christians is the same as the Yahweh of the Jews. Same. They said it is Allah. They believe that it is Allah. Now again, as I said from the beginning, they believe in an ultimate deity, but those attributes of that deity might have been different, as I have proven to you about the Asma wa Sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they believed in. So again, your verse is general that you're quoting. Yes, they did believe in God, but again, you have to come and prove that the two were the same exactly, because we have to remember a very, very important incident, which will lead me into the tafsir of Ibn Kathir, and that was of Abu Talib. And Abu Talib died on his deathbed. And Prophet Muhammad went to him and he said, just say La ilaha illallah, Qul la ilaha illallah. I will argue with Allah on the day of judgment. I will basically try to intercede, try to say to Allah, to save you. Just say that. And he did not. And he died, and as we know, he's in hellfire. Now, if he would have the same belief, they believed in exactly the same thing, now that thing would have been never happened, right? Because we believe Abu Talib is in hellfire. We believe that he is being punished. So the two cannot be the same. Now, you went in and basically to the next point, you quoted ayah.org. And I want to ask you, where does it say that Allah of Muhammad was the same as Allah of the Quraysh? It talks about the issue of rububiyyah, it talks about the issue of uluhiyyah, but never does it say that the two are the same. It is basically when the Prophet Muhammad was addressing with Allah, they believed in Allah. But again, the doctrinal differences are quite obvious. And please do not forget that. Don't misquote and look at the verses that you're quoting. Now you said, so again, please show us where did Prophet Muhammad say that Allah is the same. Basically, they're the same God. Now you bring in the issue of, well, Hindus worship gods. Can you tell to a Hindu, why do you worship gods beside Brahma if you don't even basically believe in Brahma? You're mixing apple and orange, Sam. If I would talk to Hindu, I would not go and say that, oh, you know, do you believe you worship gods beside Brahma? I would say you worship gods besides God, the one and only creator, right? I would talk in general, just like if a Christian and Jews, and I'm repeating this again just to make it sink in, if a Christian and Jew would talk about Yahweh. Again, if I would say God to a Hindu, do you worship other gods than God? And then we would, if it would necessitate for us to go into details of what God is, then you would see it will be very obvious that we're differing. So please, again, a very, very weak argument. Then I want to just go now into the issue of Ibn Kathir. And basically you're saying that it proves from the hadith they're quoting, from the narration they're quoting, that Hubal and Allah were the same. And that is, again, and I want to point out very important, it is the fact that Abdul Muttalib is the one who, and now we're in the issue of the Tafsir Ibn Kathir, and you're basically saying that there's a proof here, and I've really, you know, I don't appreciate the fact that you're circling background, because I proved that in very, you know, in detail in the previous videos. That's why it took so long that this is not the case. Now let's look at it really fast. It's basically talking about the issue of Abdul Muttalib and the sacrifice of his sons. And we look here basically, and it's a very, very simple thing. He's saying that because he prayed at the side of the idol of Hubal, and praying in the statue was there, and he was praying even to Hubal at one point and to Allah, basically saying that the two are the same. Now let's look at Abdul Muttalib prayed to Allah, and the tafsir says Allah. Next day they went back to the original form, and basically they're talking to one of the witches. And what happened is they talked about the blood money, and then they talked about the God being satisfied. And then they said that Abdul Muttalib said prayers to Allah. Then they offered up Abdullah and 10 camels sacrifice and cast the arrow. At that point, the men of Quraysh told Abdul Muttalib, who was standing near Hubal praying to Allah, it's all over. Your God is pleased with Abdul Muttalib. Now look at this. Just to show how much sense is Sam or anyone who knows any language. And I'm not even going to go into the Arabic here, because there's a quite clear difference that there's Allah and Hubal, two different things. That there was the idol of Hubal was at the Kaaba, and not just that, 365 other idols were there. And people were praying to them, staying near them, praying to God and seeking their intercession, praying to God what is near them, being between them, and so on and so forth. Now, any person with any 2 cents of mind would say, just linguistically, mentioning two things separated basically by 2 words here. Near Hubal, praying to God. This is the only. Can the two be interchangeable and be the same if the two have different names? One is Hubal, one is Allah. He's standing near Hubal, praying to Allah. Who with 2 cents of mind, and Keith, please come, Sam, and show us, would make, because Sam is making the argument that, well, the two are the same. Look at it, he's praying here, and therefore shows, and it gives even a very wicked a philosophy, a very wicked logic. Hubal was the chief deity of Quraysh, Allah was the chief deity of the Quraysh, therefore Hubal was Allah in pre-Islamic times. Very, very flawed, because we have showed that Hubal and Allah are not the same. Allah was the one that they believe is the creator. Again, doctrinal issues and differences are the same, so don't talk about being the same. And the Hubal was not Allah, but it was a different idol, as you have showed us here, thanks. And as I have showed you here, Hubal praying to Allah. 2 different things. He was standing near Hubal.